was complete, all the while ensuring the fit was perfect. Most of the joins are created using a technique known as cast welding. Welding is a technique of joining two pieces of metal using extremely high temperatures and a welding material, or solder, to create a very strong bond. Cast welding of iron is very difficult, even today, as cast iron has a carbon content 10 times that of steel, and this high carbon content causes the metal to flake. Managing the temperature of the process is the way to ensure success, and this requires a highly advanced knowledge of critical temperatures and the properties of metals. Inlaying was also used. This is a complicated process that involves inserting a piece of one metal into a slot in another, a challenging technique that the ancient Chinese mastered. These were highly advanced techniques that we still use today.
I think the bronze chariots were not only an unprecedented achievement at the period, but also an achievement that could not be surpassed by any in the later dynasties and eras.
The bacon-wrapped deep dish pizza is back at Little Caesars. But if you're wondering who would take it away in the first place, it was Chet Wallaby, Little Caesars' corporate scapegoat.
I, Chet Wallaby, acted alone to take away your 8 crispy caramelized corners of pizza wrapped in over 3.5 feet of bacon. I deeply regret this decision that I made entirely on my own.
The truth feels good, doesn't it, son?
Think of a bacon-wrapped deep dish pizza for just $12 only at Little Caesars.
Have you had a fever, cough, blocked nose, body aches, or fatigue for less than 2 days? You may be eligible for a research study evaluating the safety and effectiveness of an investigational flu medication. Qualified participants must be between 18 and 64 years of age, have symptoms of the flu for less than 2 days, and meet additional study criteria. Participants will receive study-related care and medication at no charge. For more information, call 1-877-867-3461.
I've always been protective of my little sister. But when she got cancer, she was a strong one. She learned while she needed chemo. It could weaken my immune system. But then you found out about Neulasta. Right.
Neulasta helps reduce infection risk by boosting your white blood cell count, which strengthens your immune system. In a key study, Neulasta reduced the risk of infection from 17% to 1%, a 94% decrease. Neulasta is for certain cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. Do not take Neulasta if you're allergic to Neulasta or Neupogen. Ruptured spleen, sometimes fatal, as well as serious lung problems, allergic reactions, kidney injuries, and capillary leak syndrome have occurred. Report abdominal or shoulder tip pain, trouble breathing, allergic reactions, puffiness in face or ankles, change in urine, swelling of stomach area, feeling of fullness, dizziness, or feeling faint to your doctor right away. In patients with sickle cell disorders, serious, sometimes fatal crises can occur. The most common side effect is bone and muscle ache.
Ellie's strong, but she still needs help.
Yeah, I do.
Ask your doctor about Neulasta.
Montelli?
I sell flowers,
I sell flowers.
but our businesses work differently.
We both rely on customer support. That's there when we need it.
But I need a lot more sleep because most of my business is done online.
The other internet providers treated us the same, just because we sell the same thing.
But Cox Business gave us something different, personalized solutions.
How do they know our needs?
They asked.
They listen.
Crazy, right?
If you're ready for something different, make the switch. Get Cox Business Internet today.
Hi, I'm Heather Cox on location with the famous Big Idaho Potato Truck.
Our truck.
It's touring across America telling people about Idaho potatoes.
Let's go, boy.
Again this year, the Big Idaho Potato Truck is traveling the country, spreading the word about heart-healthy Idaho potatoes and making donations to local charities.
Excuse me, miss. You seen our truck?
You just missed it.
Man, are you kidding me?
So, fellas, that was crazy fun.
We're going back to the 70s right now.
Are you kidding?
This is insane, man. Amen to that. I love it. Make it happen.
An all-new season of Counting Cars. Tuesday, February 16th at 9 on History and the History app. Stream thousands of episodes of history shows now.
Today, the chariots and horses remain the largest find of fine bronzeware discovered in the history of world archaeology. But it is not only in the production of the emperor's chariots that sophisticated technology and engineering from 2,000 years ago are to be found. Every single soldier of the Imperial Guard was armed. Archaeologists at the site have unearthed an array of weapons, including spearheads, crossbow bolts, crossbow trigger mechanisms, blades of dagger axes that would have been mounted on 10-foot poles, and 37-inch long swords that are still razor sharp. The sheer scale of the number of weapons alone suggests that vast factories and workshops were in operation on a level of industrialization to match the factories of modern Western industrial cities. With meticulous detail, each weapon was cast and modeled to its standard shape, and then filed, chiseled, drilled, and polished. But there is one enduring mystery behind the discoveries of these marvelous ancient weapons. Incredibly, after 2,000 years, these bronze weapons still glitter. But how did the ancients create such metals that still preserve their strength and sharpness? Using cutting-edge electron probe microanalysis, archaeologists believe that the key to unlocking this ancient mystery may lie in the discovery of a dark gray layer covering the weapon's surface. Incredibly, the layer has been identified as chromium, a highly complex protective layer that wouldn't be developed in the West until the 1930s.
This layer was found to be a kind of oxide containing chromium. This means that in the Qin era, they had already mastered the technology to use chromium. In the modern world, the technology to oxidize chromium was invented in Germany in the 1930s and in America in the 1950s, whereas in China, people knew this technology as early as 2,000 years ago and put it into practice very skillfully. It is a remarkable achievement.
Despite the incredible advancement of the weaponry, it is the actual soldiers of the Terracotta Army themselves that still remain a mystery to modern scholars. How were they mass-produced on such an enormous scale, and to such an exquisite level of craftsmanship and casting skill? It is an accomplishment that has stood the test of millennia.
The making of the terracotta warriors is a real example of how China ran a semi-industrial society. In order to build this tomb, the emperor summoned 700,000 people to work at the site, and they probably worked for 10 years, possibly longer.
Modern scholars estimate that the construction of the Terracotta Army employed an organized labor force of nearly 750,000 workers who worked for 10 years or more. That is the equivalent of the labor force of 40 automobile factories. In Lintong province, close to the emperor's tomb, a replication company has undertaken the challenge to recreate the warriors using ancient materials.
I think it is a very difficult thing to do, even nowadays. To make figures in the ancient time was much more complicated. Using the clay roll production method at that time, it would take 20 days for the whole process.
Once the clay is rolled, the artist builds the main structure of the warrior's body. Each figure is then sculpted with armor and an individual facial expression. Modern-day workshops, repeating the production process, have found that each warrior figure requires, on average, 300 pounds of clay, meaning that the craftsmen who created the Terracotta Army needed in the region of well over 1,000 tons of clay. No kilns have so far been discovered at the site, and the firing process remains an ancient enigma for archaeologists. Some scholars now believe that the molds of the warriors were encased within a temporary shell and were fired using a traditional kiln technique that reached high temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees.
A project of this scale at that time would have required large kilns, but it's a great shame that none have been discovered so far.
Once the temperature has climbed to its maximum, the mud surface of the temporary shell cracks, allowing hot air to glaze and harden the figure. The results upon removing the shell are remarkable. and offer a fascinating insight into the advanced understanding of ceramic and firing technology that was developed in ancient China over 2,000 years ago. What other mysteries will archaeologists uncover at this spectacular site?
Tuesday. It's not over yet. The season finale of Drilling Down digs deeper.
This is an information hunt as much as a treasure hunt.
And find out what they'll unearth next.
You don't see things like that 140 feet in the ground?
A special season finale of Drilling Down, Tuesday at 9 on History and the History app.
What's the meaning of life? What happens when we die? Why won't the Kardashian thing go away? You feel like it's history, didn't you? I have now! Who is history's biggest presidential bad boy? You either join the discussion or you die.
I'm Brian. I was in the military for 18 years. I joined the service so I could serve my country and see the world. But I smoked, and I got heart disease. So a lot of the world I got to see looked like this. My tip is, it's hard to serve your country when you're too weak to put on your uniform.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT now.
At Burger King, get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49. Wait, the 10 nuggets deal is back again?
$1.49 for 10 nuggets.
Sweet! They're crispy and golden on the outside, made with fresh meat on the inside. Enjoy 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49 today. Only at Burger King.
We gave New Yorkers a chance to explore family history with MyHeritage.com.